After seeing the data from the first few months of this year, some experts are now predicting the entire global automotive industry will be dead within 20 years and that all cars will be manufactured. We're talking every single car will be manufactured in China. Now, if the Biden administration has its way, that won't happen. So, okay, America is going to hold on to some production to sell just in America, but all other cars sold for every country worldwide will be made in China. That's a pretty drastic prediction. The Biden administration's tariffs, they've come what appears to be in the nick of time. Not really, but Chinese electric car exports have suddenly increased pretty drastically worldwide. And this is because, well, there's too many cars being manufactured in China for one, but also because China wants its EV companies, its car companies, to expand overseas. And China is incentivizing this. I mean, the European Union has said that EV companies in China get paid a set fee for every vehicle they sell outside of China. Well, that comes right after China's car exports have increased, with EV sales hitting nearly 50% market share in the country itself. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching The Electric Viking. Plug-in hybrids accounted for 57% of BYD's new car sales in China last month. The other 43% were fully electric cars. And BYD, well, their sales in the month were pretty staggering for the month of April. In fact, BYD's exports worldwide grew to the point where they hit a record. BYD's exports were, I believe, about 14% market share. 14% of BYD's sales completely became exports. That's a new record for BYD. It's not just BYD. You've got companies like Zeekr, Polestar, Volvo, and companies like XPeng, NIO. There's a lot of companies that are exporting EVs. MG in particular, their sales actually dominated everyone else from China. Worldwide, MG is absolutely smashing it when it comes to, in particular, the MG4 EV. New car sales have gone down in China. Gasoline-powered sales have gone down drastically. I mean, if you look at gasoline, internal combustion engine sales in China in the month of April versus the month of April 2 years ago, they're about half of what they were 2 years ago. Half. That's crazy because, you know, the car manufacturers making those cars, they're Toyota, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, Ford, General Motors, etc. April saw exports of Chinese EVs reach a record high, according to the Chinese Passenger Car Association. In April, domestic sales in China dropped by 5.8%. That's a pretty significant number, but that was all including the increase in EV sales. So actually, gasoline-powered vehicles, diesel-powered vehicles, internal combustion-powered vehicles, they declined about 25%. But because EV sales went up drastically, it meant that the market in total only fell by 5.8%. Now, sales period in China fell by 10% versus March. So the month of April, we saw the economic headwinds that China's facing. I've been talking about this for a little while. People have been saying, oh, you're just being anti-China. Guys, people are being hit by crazy scenarios that they got stung by. Evergrande Property Group going under $600 billion in losses. People have invested all over China in property, and a lot of those investments were dead investments. It's going to have to hit the Chinese economy at some point in time. They want to hide this, but it's happening. The fact that the market was down 10% versus April, and the fact that that happened when the Chinese government, it's trying its best to stimulate car buying in China. It's offering, for the first time ever, 0% interest loans, $0 down payment. So you can walk into a dealership, you can buy a car with nothing, no dollars, nothing, and you can get basically 0% interest. We've never seen that happen. This never ever happened in China before that we know of, at least in the last 30 years of Chinese recorded history. So China's doing everything it can. Literally everything it can, stimulating it with money, stimulating it with, almost basically no interest loans and $0 down payment, trying its best to stimulate its automotive industry in order to soak up all the massive numbers of cars that are being manufactured that aren't being bought. Now, a deep analysis of this data actually shows that exports from China grew by 38% year over year. 38%. Even though the car market in China is struggling, it's not really struggling outside of China. China's exports hit a total of 417,000 vehicles in the month of April alone. And that puts them on pace to probably export around 5 million cars this year, possibly even more than that. And incredibly, this increase follows a 40% jump in exports in the month of March. So China's exports are rapidly spreading all around the world. We might want to think they're not, but they really are. According to the Secretary General of the China Passenger Car Association, domestic automakers will need to choose whether to expand overseas or risk losing market share in China, says Reuters. New energy vehicles, meaning EVs, plug-in hybrids, they continue to gain market share. So if you're making internal combustion vehicles in China, you're in big trouble. You've either got to export them or just, I don't know, do what Jeep did, do what Mitsubishi did, just go bankrupt in China. In the previous month, these vehicles accounted for 44% of all new car sales in the country, but in the final 2 weeks of the month, they accounted for 50%. That's the trend. BYD predicted this at the start of the year, and they were right. EVs secured a 50% market share during the initial half of April. Now in April, EV sales actually increased 12% compared to the previous month. The company that benefited from this the most was probably BYD, but secondly, Geely. Their exports are growing at a very fast pace. They're actually growing their exports faster than any other car company in China. And that's on the back of their EV exports, which have grown by 46%. Chinese car manufacturers accounted for nearly 70% of global plug-in hybrid sales in the first quarter of this year. 70% of global plug-in hybrid sales. That's alarming. It's incredible. But Western automakers, they need to face up to the reality that some analysts are saying in 20 years from now, all cars worldwide will be made in China. There's literally a report I have on my desktop right now here from a very respected analyst who believes the global automotive market will cease to exist as we know it today, and only China will make cars in 20 years from now. Now, I don't agree with him, but that is something that some people believe is going to happen. Guys, let me know what you think about that prediction in the comments, and thank you for watching.